Welcome to another edition of the Go Nose Podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. I think the second part of my intro I'm just going to cut out. Because a lot of the stuff I talk about, I just freestyle. I don't try to come up with a script or anything like that. So, I think that's how I'm going to do it going forward. But, I know I'm late on this. Like I said, I don't try to be like ahead of the curve when it comes to news, sporting news, anything like that. I just see stuff, and as I read about it or see it on the internet, I just kind of, bring it on this podcast and, talk about it. And the latest thing is Troy Aikman to Monday Night Football. I like it. I mean, Troy Aikman is obviously, one of the top, if not the top, color commentators, in the industry when it comes to football. And, it's nice to see that the four-letter network is finally taking Monday Night Football seriously. I think since they took over, they really were not putting the best guys out there. I mean, I think Gruden was great. Gruden and Tirico was great. Okay, but ever since Gruden left and Tirico left, I don't think they was really taking it seriously. I like Fowler and Herbstreit, when they called the playoff game. I don't know if it was a playoff game or not. I think it was Chiefs and, I can't forget. I want to say Broncos, but I could be wrong. They called the NFL game, and I thought it was phenomenal, man. I thought they did a phenomenal job. So I thought naturally, they could be like, the natural go-to for Monday Night Football, but I don't know. But I like Troy Aikman. It just depends on who the play-by-play man gonna be. Al Michaels is up there. I don't know how much longer he has left. He's been doing this forever. So I don't know who you get as the play-by-play man. You might want to bring Joe Buck over from Fox. I mean, they all up under the Walt Disney umbrella, so I mean, I'm pretty sure they could work something out. Whatever. NIL, man. It's kind of crazy to me that, and I'm not. Some of these coaches that have been at big money programs and now they're at lower tier programs and they're trying to call out the bigger schools now for NIL. It's crazy. I mean, paying football players, college football players, has been around forever. Okay? This just didn't start this year. It's just been under the table. And now that, I'm not going to say it's an even playing field, but now that you can do it and there's, it's legal pretty much, now you want to say something. And I'm talking about Mac Brown, man. Florida State alumnus, who I wish Florida State would have hired as head coach. I think he wanted that job, but that's another story. But he called out, I want to say Texas A&M. And, when he was at Texas, come on, man. All those 4 and 5 stars you had at Texas, and now you trying to call somebody out. Stop it, man. I love NIL. I love that these guys are getting money. Football is not an easy game to play. You spend a lot of time lifting weights. You spend a lot of time studying. You spend a lot of time practicing, and you play games. You are basically you're gonna have long-term health problems from playing that game. And that's why take all the money that you can get while you can get it. Because when you get older and you can't play no more and you have physical problems, you're gonna need that money. Not to mention the cerebral problems, the brain problems, the head trauma. Just the impact of playing football. So take all the money that you can get while you can. I think pretty soon, within the next 12 months, they're going to come out with some rules to put a cap on how much these players can get. And it's going to be a lot more red tape to go through to get paid. So, because you just got so many people out here complaining. And these people probably never play football in their lives. They just see a kid getting a big check, and they don't want that kid to get that big check. And it's sad. It's sad that people in this country are so selfish. I'm just like, hey man, go get your money, get paid. You only live once. You only gonna play this game once. So take everything that you can get. Getting on to Florida State stuff. I follow a lot of stuff on social media when it comes to Florida State. And I'm not going to call out this particular entity as far as what they do. But, they rated Florida State position groups, and I'm not going to say what they rated them, but it was just so far off, bro. Like, I'm just like, y'all got to watch the games. You got to watch the games, man. And I'm not saying that his ratings were bad. I'm not saying they were good. I just didn't agree with them. Either way, I'm not going to say either way. But you got to watch the games. You give a A through F rating. You give a little synopsis about the positions, and it's just, dude, you got to watch the games. I still feel like this is a 7-5 football team, even with the additions that they made. I think Jordan Travis has to make that quantum leap. I've said that a million times. Last episode, I told you the offensive line is the most important position group in football. Period. And if you don't agree with that, you don't know football. Those 5 offensive linemen, the starters, if they can play the whole season, you're probably gonna win a lot of games. Okay? If you have good backups that can step in when the starters get hurt, you're gonna win a lot of games. If they are dominating, you're gonna be competing for championships. So, and just we need better in-game management. I don't think Mike Norvell did a great job at in-game management. So that's just something that he needs to improve on. He's flipping the roster, and that's pretty much what he has to do. He's got to keep getting these Jimbo and Willie guys out of here, the bad apples, and hopefully, I want to say 2023 is the year that he's got to make the jump. I think 2023, you got to go at least 9-3, 10-2. I think 2022, you have to be in every game. There can't be any blowout losses this year. Okay? It just can't be. It just can't be any blowouts. I think competitive, we have to be competitive in every game. I'm not saying we got to win every game. I'm not saying we got to be in the ACC championship. But this year, (2022), you got to be in every game. I think last season the goal was just to not look inferior. Because I just think before this year, every year previous to that, after the last good Jimbo year, we just looked like the inferior football team. And mission accomplished last season. And I think this year is to be competitive in every game with a chance to win every game. I think this year's team has to just take a monumental leap in all phases of the game. I think this coaching staff has to take a, monumental leap forward, quantum leap, if you will. I mean, the university and just all things involved with Florida State football. Boosters, fans, we all have to take a quantum leap forward. And we have to help this team get back to where we want it to be. Me personally, just being honest, I don't think we're going to get there. I think the best we can hope now in this day and age in college football is 10-2, 9-3. Fringe ACC contenders, New Year's Day 6 game. That's it. I don't see Florida State winning national championships because it just takes big time money. The last national championship we won on the cheap. We won on the cheap, and Alabama had an off year. I mean, we got lucky. Okay. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. At the end of the day, we went on the field, we won the games. But, I also recognize how it played out. For us to, a couple of things you have to have to win a national championship. You have to have a very good offensive line. You can get by with an okay defense if they're not playing, long periods of times throughout games. Okay, if you have a very good offensive line and that okay defense can be on the bench, you're gonna be okay. And secondly, you have to have very good quarterback play at the college level. It's very seldom that you win a national championship with mediocre quarterback play. And you can go back, how many every years you want to go back and you find me a national championship where you had a mediocre quarterback. And the only team that I can really think of that really had like a mediocre quarterback in my lifetime that I can remember was probably 2000, Oklahoma with Heupel. Or maybe Craig Krenzel with Ohio State. Virtually every other national champion had pretty good to great quarterback play. So can Florida State get those elite level quarterbacks? I don't know. I don't know enough about AJ Duffy to say that he's an elite quarterback. Okay. He might be the next Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. I've never seen him play it down in my life. So I just don't. Probably the only recruits for Florida State that I was really in on was probably, and it's probably about 5. Lorenzo Booker, way back in the day. Antonio Cromartie, okay, Dalvin Cook, Jalen Ramsey, and the kid from this past recruiting cycle. I forget his name. Travis Hunter. That's probably it. And Ernie Sims from back in the day. That was it. I mean, back when I was a kid, I mean, I just expected Florida State to get the top guys. So I didn't even follow recruiting. It was just like, okay, Deion leaving, here come Terrell Buckley. Terrell Buckley leaving, here come Corey Fuller, here come Corey Sawyer. Okay? My boy, number 55, he leaves, here come Derek Brooks. If y'all haven't noticed on this podcast, I'm terrible with names, man. I'm sorry. My mind just goes blank when I'm recording for some reason. I apologize. I say that about the recruiting to say that I don't sit here and just, when a kid takes something off of social media, I'm just up at arms. Like, it's the end of the world. Like, one guy ain't gonna make your football team. I don't care how good he is. Okay? You can get Trevor Lawrence back there. If he don't have an offensive line to block for him, it's a moot point. And you've seen that in the latter parts of his collegiate career. His offensive line sucked, and it affected his ability to find open receivers. Football is a team sport. And, we can sit here and act like it's not, but it is. For every great individual player, there's other players around him that help make him great. So, I don't know what to say about Florida State, man. These last 4 or 5 years make the Bobby Bowden lean years look fantastic. People was up in arms during those Bobby Bowden lean years. You would have thought that it was end of days, man. And it's just these last 5 years have been way worse than that. Bobby Bowden was still winning 8-9 games, getting in the ACC championship. So, and I have to correct. I said something on my previous episode about. I listened to it and I said it was the most watched episode on YouTube. I meant in my history of my podcast, not like the history of YouTube. So I wanted to throw that correction out there because, Lord knows, I'm not even a crumb on the YouTube radar. Like my channel is so microscopic, and that's fine. You know, I'm just, this is a hobby that I love to do, and you know, I enjoy it. And that's, you know, I appreciate everybody that listens. I'm glad that my podcast is being broadcasted on various podcasting platforms. You know, I'm just happy, man. Spring practice starts this week. I just wanna, when I look at this stuff on YouTube, I just want to see the mood of the team. Like, you know, is it upbeat? Is it positive? Is it, you know, let's get after it? You know, or is it just going through the motions? That's what I look for when I watch spring practice. So this team is more of Norvell guys now. So I just expect better results this upcoming season. So hopefully Norvell and the crew can, you know, at least get us to 7-5, get us to a bowl game. I mean, we haven't been to a bowl game in, what, 4 or 5 years? We went to the Sun Bowl against Arizona State when Willie Taggart got fired, right? So that was, what, like 3 years ago? So it's been 3 years. I mean, and, you know, how the mighty have fallen when Florida State is just trying to make it to a bowl game. You know, it pains me to say that, but it is what it is. And, you know, hopefully we can, you know, build this thing back up. So with that being said, thank you for listening. I appreciate all the support. Podcast is available on YouTube and on all podcast platforms. As always, go Noles, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.